This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
A wonderful Saturday here in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm your pilot taking you on a trip with the home of Sports Lounge through the turbulent world of sports. And I'm with my favorite co-pilots today, Tomi on my right, Ifedotun on my left.
Yippee.
Guys, everybody's happy this
Good to be
morning.
back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
How you doing now? How's your week?
I traveled a lot this week.
Yeah, you're a co-pilot. It's expected of you.
Well, it was good. It's nice to be back in Lagos. It was a wonderful week.
That's something you never hear. It's nice to be back in Lagos.
It's always
Tomi,
back
you
to
have...
It's always back to
No,
Lagos.
this one, for me,
It's always good to be back in Lagos.
for me,
Right?
it's good to
Wow.
be back in Lagos.
Okay.
This week.
It's always good to be back in Lagos.
To the viewers, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing black, let's go right into it. I'm mourning the exit of the Golden Eaglets from the AFCON
Is
under
it
20.
Flying Eagles? Or
Is
it
Flying
Flying Eagles.
Eagles?
Flying
Yeah,
Eagles.
Flying
That's
Eagles.
Flying
Eagles.
Eagles.
Flying Eagles, pardon me. Yeah, so we've had a decent competition. We weren't exactly the flamboyant, flashy team Nigeria expects of our age grade teams. I mean, we're used to grooming talented players who would eventually get disciplined by going to play in Europe. But this time around, we weren't exactly flashy. I don't think we scored 2 goals in any match.
No.
Scoring a goal a game.
No, we did against Kenya. 2-2.
Oh yeah, that was a 2-2
The
performance.
penalty, yeah.
Then against South Africa, rivals all the time, losing 1-0. Tomi, how was it for you? I know you followed this tournament to the T. How was that exit for you? Was it deserved? Was it unfair?
So I think we need to go back to how what the tournament is supposed to be used for. You know, I was watching a podcast, and they were talking about how our developmental system in Nigeria has failed and whatnot. And I asked myself, when last did a Nigerian footballer graduate from the under-17s to the 20s to the main team?
Super Eagles, yeah.
Like, when last did we see somebody, when last did we have, let me scratch that, when last did we have a home-based player playing any of these tournaments, under 20, 17, under 20, then make it to the main Super Eagles squad within the space of like 3-4 years? Can't remember the last time that happened to anybody. Most of the players we are getting now are maybe a Nigerian that went abroad, Boniface, Tolaro Kodari, they went abroad, they did well for themselves abroad, and then we got them, or the ones that naturalized, the Igbo boys and stuff. And it comes down to a systemic problem. Those tournaments are developmental tournaments. They are not win-now tournaments. I'll cast our mind back to, for me, in our own lifetime, the best age grade team we've ever had. Under 17, they lost and crashed out, Mikel Obi.
That was Finland.
In Finland,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you very much.
Yeah.
They crashed out. That same team, little rejig here and there, they under 20, 2005. In 2006, Taiwo, Unsofo, Obi, Obasi, Adileye, Olufemi Adebayo, all these guys were already in the AFCON squad. That was a team that was built. We can say young generation. Really, how many of them really made it from that generation? A few, but it was not as, because we've abandoned the true essence of those tournaments. Also in our leagues, we've abandoned the true essence of the league. Now you see people not want to play in the league, and then they want to stay in an academy so that they get catapulted abroad. But like whether it's fake age or real age, whatever, at 16, whatever, they go abroad. Now once they go abroad, most of them are not available to play these tournaments. So we just take the best of the lot we can find. Kwara United here, Marvelon United there. I'm sorry I'm calling names, but I'm just calling names. We just pick the players, Kano players, just pick the players together, bundle them together, go to a tournament and start playing PMP football, power and pace, gidibo. Then even if we struggle to win, because Nigerians have that winner mentality, you struggle to win, but you look at the quality of the football played. There's nothing to write home about. From the first game to the last game, I looked at, somebody was asking, now sorry I'm calling names, is Clinton Jefta the best under 20 winger we have in this country? Is Bameyi the best under 20 centre half we have in this country? Do you look at Megari?
True. With regards to these players, you started calling a couple of names that you don't think they're the best in their positions. Do we have any talent in that squad that you could probably say, okay, in this place we took our best legs to this developmental tournament, or
So
did we not take anybody worth looking forward to in terms of like their career and their progression going forward?
So watching that squad, yeah, there are 4 players that I personally had in mind to go and watch. Aside the goalkeeper Ebenezer Hakot, who I think is fantastic. He didn't really have a great tournament distribution-wise, but and they defended well enough, so he didn't really face much. Hakot, I think he will become a generational goalkeeper. He's 15 or 16. I don't know how that boy doesn't, except injuries, which we've noticed in the past has been a problem for him. Yeah. But I expect him to grow in leaps and bounds. So aside from Ebenezer, 4 other players, I'll start from who I think is the list of the 4 that I think were decent enough. Alabi is a midfielder. I watch him and I know, okay, so he had basic ingredients, can pass, receive, turn under pressure. Those little fine details that you don't necessarily see, that doesn't jump out at you. Very comfortable in possession and has decent IQ. Alabi, I think he won number 8. Then also Simon Cletus. Unfortunately, Cletus barely played in tournaments. I'd seen him in the 17 before this one, and he feels like a really good creator. I think he started only one game, or came in and created a goal. Yeah, I think it was one. Yes, he came in and created a goal. So he's really good, has an eye for a pass, and really composed on the ball. And I think his age is correct because as the 17 tournament he went for, he was in SS1 or something. So, and like people knew his school. So I think that one is
So
that's a good. There's
progression.
yeah.
There.
Then
Still have it good progress.
then the two major ones I think are sure banker talents. And going back to what I said before, can these players make it can they progress to the national team? Number 1 is the striker Paru Buhariri. Everybody who knows us, everybody knows him.
Yeah,
He's
at
a
this
gunman.
point, yeah, he is.
Unfortunately, he was starved. He literally had to hustle, jam people just to get a little bit of service. Even the first goal we scored in tournament, his movement created a goal for somebody else. He made one really good move, took out 2 defenders, somebody else scored. So that's one talent I think we should all watch. I hope Lidstrom goes fine for him. I think they even gave him number 9. So let him go back. Let us see if he can develop from there. Then obviously the left back, Ojinaka Okoro. Out of that team, generally now, that was the one standout performer who did not look like he was playing African football, as we call it, or was playing basketballs. Receives the ball, turns properly for a left back, drives with the ball, gives accurate passes, gives accurate crosses, marks his man. He's the only one who I think that if you look at this under 20 squad now, if they say there's a team to be taken to the next AFCON and you put him in that team, I don't think he'll look out of place. Parobo, of course, we have Osimhen and the like, so nobody expects Parobo to go to the next AFCON. But Ojinaka Okoro, I don't know what's happening with Sanusi. Jamil Collins and all these guys. Bruno Machi. I don't know what's happening with most of them. I think Bruno is doing decently well, but Sanusi, not necessarily. He's not necessarily playing in Porto. So I think Okoro might be one to look out for. Hopefully, this propels him and they go to the... they qualified for the Under-20 World Cup and he goes there, does his bit, and he gets his move.
Impressive recap on the situation with our Flying Eagles. From there, we'll be taking a quick flight to Spain. Hansi Flick has confirmed a double for Barcelona. They won the league, and we have to give big ups to Ifedotun this time around. Earlier in the season, we spoke about who is the best player currently playing football. And you said the one player that gets you off your feet is Lamine Yamal. Now we are hearing shouts about Lamine going for the best player award, the Balon. What do you think about? Is it too early? Is it prime for it? What are your thoughts on the shouts for Lamine winning the Balon?
Is it ever too early? I don't think it's too early. I don't think it's too early. So people are scared to say he's best player of the world because he's 17 years old. So I don't know, if you watch ball, there's no way you watch him play and you know, like, if you've never watched football before and they tell you this is the screen, these are the players, and you watch maybe a Barcelona game and you see that guy, you'll be like, wait, sorry, who's that guy? They tell you 17, you're like, seriously? I mean, in Nigeria, when they tell you someone is 17, you just add You multiply by 5. You multiply by 5 and divide by 2.
Off your mic.
And all of that. But I mean, this is someone that they've seen his progression throughout. I mean, in Europe, it helps that their records and all of that. So it's not even something that's debatable per se, right? But here's the thing about Lamine Yamal to me and the Balon D'Or conversations. Late 90s, early 2000s, he didn't have to score 50 goals to win Balon D'Or. He didn't have to score 30 goals to win Balon d'Or.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a stat I saw somewhere, I think last year or so, that I think between, let me see, maybe like 95, 96, up until 2007. 2007, yeah. There was no Balon d'Or winner that won the Champions League. All of them stand out. I mean, Nedved even missed the final entirely in 2003. He was suspended for the final. Juve lost. He still won the Balon d'Or.
And Henri had it.
Do you remember when Milan
Monster season.
Do you remember when Milan?
Was that his 20?
2020.
Do you remember when Milan got knocked out in 2004 when Shevchenko won Balon d'Or? Don't.
Jesus.
I can't.
Jesus.
I'm too young
That's
for
true.
that.
In 2004, 2005, Ronaldo got knocked out round of 16 against Chelsea, Balon d'Or. So I'm not saying that times have changed, obviously, right? I know that a big factor in all of this is Ronaldo and Messi, in the sense that they're going to score.
They sport the
They're
numbers.
going to score 70. They're going to win the big titles, and they're generally the best players in the world. So you cannot look beyond them. But it's affected a lot of people's. I think you don't have to produce the best numbers to be the best player in the world. People will still argue Ednada and Mo Salah today, despite one's numbers being a lot more better than the other.
Yeah.
So if you can compare players without the numbers, right? I mean, numbers are very important, so don't get me wrong. Do you understand? If Lamine Yamal was not scoring goals, if he was not creating chances, if he was not assisting goals, people will not talk about him in the slides, right? But when you watch football, you know the person that is good and you know the person that is not good. Numbers can paper plenty cracks, but are there cracks in this guy's game? I don't think so. The only crack that can come up is with growth, because the day we spoke about him on set, I said in terms of 17-year-old players, the only person that can chat to him is Ronaldo de Lima at 17. But by the time he gets to 18, we've seen a lot of great 18-year-olds. See, the first person I called out was Michael
Owen, yeah.
Yeah. Rooney at 18
Rooney
was a monster.
Fabregas at 18
was a monster. Mbappe at 18.
I read about.
Even the Ronaldo de Lima we were speaking about he had grown at 18.
Ifedotun, before you continue, I read about someone who was very good at 17 as well, scoring a hat trick, taking his team to winning the World Cup. But you've not given him any props yet.
We know what
I
now.
don't know what that is, man.
We know what now.
Pele.
Okay, so let me I'll just take one page from Ronaldo's book. All these goals they are recorded on camera. You remember the interview he said that?
Wow, that's harsh. That's harsh. But looking at, let's take a step back from Yamal and look at Barcelona as a whole. How many times have we seen a footballing institution win their age grade under 19 league and the Champions League? You have their female team doing the double, or rather a treble as well, close to winning a treble as well. And then you have their male team being as dominant in the league as well. Like, how do you see this excellence from a footballing institution?
So, this episode is even perfect for this discussion, because Barcelona is the exact opposite of what Tomi was talking about with the Flying Eagles. This is a team that has continuity plan, right? In the event that, I mean, maybe because of what I do 9 to 5, we have a lot of continuous processes and all of that. Even if someone drops dead today, right? Do you understand? A lot of things
There's a way, yeah.
We had Bernal, ACL, Casado came up. Casado, ACL, they brought out Femi Lopez from God knows where. Gerard Martin at left back.
Hector Fort.
There's so many examples, right? Even in the events in the instance where they did not have a backup, they went to free market to go bring shares in that retired. It's a continuity plan. They have multiple contingency plans. I looked at some of the players that played up front with Messi over the years. Tello, Jeffrey, you see all those players, right? It's not just about you are good or you are the best and you play. There's no team that has, or there's no great team that's had 11 world-class players. You have 11 good players. You can even have 10 world-class players. But you see somebody there that will speak to and say, was this guy really that good? Do you understand?
Yeah.
But my point here is, you know what you want to achieve. get the necessary ingredients and the necessary profiles into your squad, right? You know that, okay, this is what I want from this person. Now, there's some people that can do that same job on a higher quality level, right? You watch the players that are playing there and you're like, oh, okay, I can see what they are trying to do. If they remove this person and put this other person, I mean, look at all the reactions to their exits in the Champions League. Nobody has said, oh, if Balde was present, if Koundé was present, nothing's. That's football. We played, we lost. We'll move on with it. I mean, small talk about referee, yeah, but that's by the way. So it's intentional. They've planned it properly. They give opportunities to their kids. I know we speak about Yamal all the time, and I've told someone before, it's not...
Do you think the gods of football are unfair? I mean, La Masia, Barca had Messi, and now they have Yamal.
Maybe, but again, sorry to divert. I've told Tomi this before. A 17-year-old attacker,
thank you very much,
and all of that is a big deal.
I know what.
But it's not the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Kubasi
is the biggest deal.
That was 18 years old and he's playing like
a 30-year centre back.
Defenders don't match on time, right?
Yeah.
So they probably start getting grades maybe like 24, 25. You see signs. But this boy that's the person that is scary because nobody pays attention to defenders. I mean, I've tried to play ball in Nigeria before. I gave up when I entered university because I thought... I had no experience, but if I share it on stage, everybody just goes to end up laughing and I'm going to forget about what we're doing. But you see people that most of the training practices, most of the training processes go to attackers, number 9s, wide men. To an extent, I don't know about now because I've not been in the developmental stage at all, number 10s. So if you see defenders that are playing pattern football, a particular style, a particular system, you know that attention has been paid to them. It's the same problem we have goalkeepers here in this side of the world. So when you see Barcelona create right back today, centre back today, DM tomorrow, forward tomorrow, you know that they paid specific. In fact, you watch the videos of under 17, under 10, under 11.
Yeah,
so you see all those things where they're trying to groom them in that style. And it helps that there's footballing culture in that club. They have a style, they have a system, they have a pattern.
This is the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
I mean, Real Madrid promotes people and all of that, but you can't exactly say that this is... Real Madrid's culture is to win.
Yeah,
do you understand?
win now.
Win. Don't give us excuse. Don't give us story. Just win now. But you see this, we want to play a certain way. We want to... If you go to Barcelona under 7 and say, how do you guys play? It's the same thing here when you go to 11. Same thing here. So those guys are growing in that way. And so the results are obvious. The results are clear. Even if they don't win, we can see what they are trying to do. And it helps that, like you said, the gods have been fair to them. Messi, Yamal, only God knows the next person that is going to come up from. I mean, this is a team that had...
Before we move on...
Ronaldo, Romario, Ronaldinho, Stoichkov, Rivaldo.
before we move on from this developmental talk and then progression, Tomi, like, do you see any way Nigeria as a whole, or maybe Nigerian academies can start this? Or is it just a systemic excellence thing across board in this place here? Or do you think it's something that can be groomed?
DSS will pick you up. If you say what you want to say.
See, I'll start from where it stopped. So I watched La Liga Promises in December. It was December.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the name of 3. That's show you how much I enjoyed watching Barcelona play. 3 players. John Ovie is a Nigerian centre half. I think it's like 11 in Barcelona. Played like as if it was Araujo. There's a midfielder that is literally little Messi, David. I think he's like 11 too. There's a striker, Fode, Dark. I think he's from somewhere in Africa. I can't remember where he's from. I think his name is Fode also. And I watched them play, and I was wondering, these guys play better than not now. This is La Liga under 12, under 13. These guys played better than England under 18s. Like, not Nigeria now. Like, they played better. Like, watching them play, and it was, I think, 6 aside or so. I don't know if it was like 6 aside or 4 aside, something like that. They played better than watching England under 18s play. My Arsenal, Max Zalman, that I watch regularly. I watch those back, that because it is systemic from top to bottom. Every player, once he gets in at 5, 6 year old, the IQ, there's you don't have IQ, but they can teach you IQ. Like they can force IQ into your head that you know what, this is how we do things here. When you turn back, this is how many times you scan.
Muscle memory, yeah.
But here in Nigeria, I think it's a general wide African problem. We are so fixated on power and pace. I was asking, the day Boye was here, we had a conversation off camera, and I was asking him how many African strikers that stayed in Africa and went abroad, how many of them actually have good shot selection? How many? Like proper, when proper shot selection is like, when I get into this position, I chip it here. When I get here, I bend it here. When I get here, I play that Michael Owen, and that's shot selection. How many? As random as Oli Watkins. He already understands those. Oli Watkins is too random. As random as Darwin Marquis, Mr. Relegation, he has those things already ingrained in his psyche. Even the Drogba didn't have it. Now shoot, bah. Victor Osimhen, bah. Because our structure here is just going to be up and down. So we need to change. Now you watch a team. Shout out to Beyond Limits and Remo. You watch a team like Beyond Limits train now. You're seeing that they've started infusing a couple of these things. But how much can an academy like Beyond Limits do for serve the whole country?
It can be what do you call it? It's a stimulating factor.
Yeah, let's hope, because we're looking at most of the, and it's unfair that we Africans are being characterized by that. So now when you want to buy a player, can he run? Is he strong? That is the only, literally.
I think it started out as being a thing of, okay, let's focus on our, in quote, unfair advantage.
Physical advantage.
Yes, and then we just zeroed in on it and then forgot about.
But the Germans used to be big, fast, and good. The pure Germans used to be big, fast, and good. So like it is. I think it's greed of selling players that causes. Who can we quickly highlight? If you quickly see him on the pitch, if you run, if you jam body, he go dominate them. So then you dominate from 18-year-old downward, then you become 19, 20, and now that the Europeans have become probably a little bit not as strong as you, but they are now strong and they hold their own. See Pedri and Gavi, they will knock all these old men we pack. They will knock them, and look at how tiny they are.
I think it's possible anyway. I will just draw one quick parallel with South Africa. I think the last 5-6 years, South Africa have improved on their systems a lot. Youth football, club football, national teams. South Africa, we knocked South Africa last AFCON in penalty semis, right? That tournament is their best tournament in a very long time, and it was mostly a home-based squad. If you look at that squad, I think this season in Champions League, CAF Champions League, they had Sundowns go far, they had Pirates go far as well. So you see, all these things don't happen by miracle, they don't happen by magic. I know these people were on the drawing board looking for how to progress their national team through domestic activities and all of that. I know some people that are football federation presidents were going up and down other countries looking for people that had dual citizenship. No, I didn't call it.
DSS will carry you. You see that now. I stay clear of that conversation. I stay clear of that conversation.
I didn't call any names, but that person hasn't been in that position for a little while, and we've still not seen.
This one is worse.
No, so
this one is worse. At least that one understood football. This one is worse.
Interesting. We've not even. I think it's the first time that we're going for the Under-20 World Cup in a very long time. I also think that maybe it's luck or coincidence. We're getting a lot more private investors in terms of clubs nowadays. So people are taking matters into their own hands. They're no longer waiting for football federations. But I feel like if you get it right at the bottom, you'll cascade all the way to the top.
That's simple.
So, but now the fear becomes what Tomi said. With the infusion of private investors, doesn't let us fall into that risk of they want to make returns now rather than having that system grow?
The risk is present. There is no doubt about that. But look at it from this angle. There are 20 teams in the league, right? If there are 5 teams that have built their team up to a certain standard, right, in terms of people come, people go, you groom players, you move them abroad and all of that. While they're in the league, the one season they're in the league, it's competitive. The other 15 teams don't want to lose to those guys. Those guys have to go back to the drawing board, do something, anything. Do you understand? Now, my own is just I'm looking for a way to dilute it, but my problem here is that
Say it as
we don't pay enough attention to these things. We just feel like, oh, things will sort themselves out. Things will sort themselves out. I'm sure if we go to clubs like let's see, maybe the foundational clubs of Nigeria, we go to maybe like Rangers, you go to like maybe Kano Pillars, Kaduna United and Co. But you see a lot of things in the operations that will leave you. I mean, it's Imba that went to CAF Champions League.
Use Biro to write on their shirt.
How do you want to grow like that? Do you understand? So that's where the problem is. Leave all these grow, or somebody's going. A lot of teams, Nigeria is, a lot of them are a lot older than they claim to be. Right, so by the time you play 2-3 seasons, you don't have legs again. You have to move on. So there's a quick turnaround period. We know that's granted. However, if people are doing the right thing, if few people are doing the right thing, Rema has been doing the right thing for a while now.
Yes,
how many years did it take them to win the league?
They finished second 3 times. They relegated.
They
relegated, came back.
I watched Remo in Shagamu Stadium, first Premier League game ever against Plateau United. They lost 2-0 that day. I think it was in 2016.
Thereabout.
Yeah,
I think they relegated now before coming back again.
That day. Yeah, I was in Stadium that day, in Shagamu Stadium, Gateway Stadium. They lost 2-0 that day. In fact, I used to hear that home team always wins in Nigeria. That day, the team shocked me. And they went down, and the gap was a lot. Not from the relegation zone, from 19th position. They didn't throw anybody off. This is where we are going. This is what we are trying to do. They came back up. They went back down again. Came back up the third time, and they'd gotten a few things. Academy, they promoted a couple of boys that were good in that academy. They promoted them to senior team, third, second. I mean, it's patience now. You get it all the way, but a lot of people, they just go pack all the Agbayas in the league. I don't call anybody. I saw somebody playing for another. I saw a couple of people playing for other teams. Some of the players that left Sporting Lagos. I saw them playing for some other teams. The team selection was wild. Like, Jesus Christ, how did this person get to this club? How did this person get to this club? So a lot of people are now. And I mean, obviously, it's a small ecosystem. People need people, so it's easy to just drag people here and there. But the major point is that if we don't do something right, if you don't do it, you can't cut corners again. You can't cut corners, especially where people are doing the right thing. If everybody was doing the wrong thing, then you can't cut corners. But some people are doing the right thing. I'm sorry, this is the only way it's going to play out. So if we get our league right, if we get our developmental phases right, that's with the youth team football and all of that, we're going to see the results in Super Eagles. Simple and straightforward for me.
Okay, there you have it from the gang to other places where things are going all the way wrong. It's the as social media is calling it right now, we have the Battle of the Bastards coming up next week. And coincidentally, they both lost their games yesterday. Tottenham losing. I wasn't. I mean, clearly both teams have given up.
Which one?
United. I was surprised with United.
We're surprised
why
Chelsea won by the scoreline, or
no, I was surprised that United lost that game.
Wow. Enlighten us. Why?
So I saw the lineup and I said something on the group that
that
this lineup was, well, apart from Lindelof, that lineup to me looked like a preparation for the final. And I assumed, so it was my wrong assumption. I assumed that, you know what, he's trying to gauge himself against an opponent in that level. And then if he wins that game, it will be like a knock-on effect to winning the. So I'm like, oh, this is a decent lineup. Like, I'm like, okay, so let's see what's.
You have a good point.
Okay,
let's see what.
So I'm talking about knock-off effects. Do you feel this loss now is a knock-on effect and they would eventually lose the final
because of who they are playing? No.
Okay, so
but I've trusted United twice on this set against this same Tottenham this season, and United failed my hand.
So
now I don't even know. I don't even know what to do.
This game is very difficult to call, and it's very difficult to call for 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is the fact that they've played 3 times this season already. Spurs have won all 3.
Yeah.
Number 2, United's league form has never ever dictated the results in Europe.
You can say the same for Tottenham.
That's what I'm going to. So it's 1 Onana mistake in the 94th minute and 1 wrong penalty call against Sociedad from beating Sociedad, Bilbao, and Lyon home and away. If you look at United's league form, it doesn't make sense that they were able to get those type of results
against
Bilbao.
Sociedad.
Do you understand? So when you look at that team and I feel like for me, that is my biggest criticism of Ruben Amorim. It's not a matter of he has not won back-to-back league games, he's not reached 40 points. You know all those things people say, all those things just enter here and come out for you. What my biggest criticism of it is
he has not been able to motivate his team to play well in the league. Yes, I know there's nothing to fight for and all of that, but in football, momentum is a tactic. If you're winning a few games, nobody can tell what you just see. Brentford were 12th or 13th like 6-7 weeks ago. All of a sudden they won 2 games and they say, you know what, we can go to Europe. They've been beating everybody in their way. What do they call those ones?
Forest started dropping.
Forest, when do you understand? Like Forest were winning so much. Manager won manager of the month, I think twice or 3 times. Do you understand? You don't need to do anything different. You are in a good space, you're in a good headspace, you are on the clouds, just keep on moving autopilot. It happens. So the reason why when they're okay, in fact, let's leave the Europa League. Let's look at United against the big teams in the league. Bar Spurs, because that Spurs, I don't know. Number on speed there. Look at City, 0-0 and 0-0 at Old Trafford, they won 2-1 at Etihad. Against Arsenal, they lost 2-0 at Emirates in the league. They played 1-1 in the Premier League in Old Trafford, and they won on penalties in the Cup. Yeah. Against Chelsea, I think there was 1-1 earlier. No, that was under Van Nistelrooy. It wasn't under Mourinho. It was under Van Nistelrooy. Liverpool 2-2 at Anfield and all of that. When you look at that result against some of the other results, it doesn't make any sense. So it's more of, why can't you translate this to this? Is it that you cannot motivate the players, or you don't think it's important, or whatever? That's my own criticism of him. So I'm looking at that final from that lens that in the big games, sort of, there's been something different. I don't know what it tells them. I don't know how he manages that. But then again, Spurs have done the exact same thing. The fixture I'll touch on the most is the Frankfurt fixture. Frankfurt were third in Bundesliga. They were flying. Everybody's looking at their star man. They bought Mamush already in January. Everybody's looking at AKA already. They played 2-2 in London. And Spurs go away to Germany and beat them 1-0 there. That's not normal. Do you understand? Against Bodo Glimt had knocked out Lazio. Lazio finished first in the group stage. And they get to Bodo Glimt, easy, home, away, 5-1. Do you understand? So there are a lot of things that normally you look at as pointers for a final. This one is giving us nothing. We're just going to sit there, watch 90 minutes.
No Madison, no Kulusevski though.
United are going to miss a couple of players too. But, I mean, there's no Dalot, there's no deletes. I think Lisandro, everybody had known that since the beginning of the season. There's no Zexi out as well. So, injuries, you play parts both, but
you can't call the match.
I mean, most indicators will point to United. A lot of people say United know how to win. I don't know if this squad knows how to win. They say United know how to win. Those guys don't know how to win. But here's the thing, and it's going to make crazy social media edits after. And Postecoglou says, "I always win things in my second season." Yeah. So we just have to wait and see. It's very, very, very difficult. I lean towards United, obviously, for emotional and sentimental reasons, but it's very, very, very difficult to call.
Tomi, are you calling the game? Or you just refrain this time around as well?
Honestly, you know what, Tomi? Don't
I'll leave it.
No, you might be third time lucky.
But you know, Spurs winning a trophy is worse for us.
For me, Spurs winning Europa doesn't change. You know my view.
Oh no, of course.
Yeah.
Tomi, before we go for our break, do you want to call it? Do you think you'll be third time lucky?
If Spurs hold the ball, United wins.
Don't give me an if. Tomi, call the match.
That's what I'm saying.
Tomi, call the match.
And
no ifs, ands, or buts. Tomi, call the match.
United wins.
United wins. Let's see Tomi's third time lucky. There you have it. There you have it from us on the first part of the show. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break for the return leg of this flight. Welcome back to the Sports Lounge, and we're taking you on the return flight. Just before the break, we talked about Manchester United and Tottenham. Their woes currently on the domestic stage, and we'll be staying in England for the rest of the show. It's award season. Woo! Let's have it. The Premier League has brought out nominees. Some clubs don't deserve awards. The Premier League has brought out the nominees for the Player of the Season and the Young Player of the Season. Let's quickly take a look at it, and let's have the thoughts of Tomi and Ifedotun on it. For the Young Player of the Season, we have the following guys. We have Delap, we have Elanga, we have Gravenberch, we have Dean Huijsen, we have Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Morgan Rogers, and William Saliba.
See, where do we begin?
First of all, okay.
That's
Where do we
Pedro,
begin? Do you think
Elanga,
the metrics?
Saliba and Palmer.
Do you think the metrics for the young player of season
Doesn't make
have
any
to be
sense.
changed?
Doesn't make any sense. Is this not Gravenberg's third different country winning a league title?
Yeah.
Let's even say we don't know that, bro. Kopama.
No,
Guy,
see,
Kopama,
Saliba.
serious now.
Saliba. Like, no, see, we need to understand. So they say, as you used to say, the law is the law.
I mean,
The law
pick a winner from
we'll
here.
pick a winner from here. The law
But in this
says,
case, should
the law
the law be changed?
I think so. So Bundesliga does something that I like. It's called Rookie of the Year. I've not really read in total what the law is, but it seems like that's your first year or something like that, and then after that year you can be nominated for the Young Player of the Year again.
But what of say a Florian Wirtz comes to the Premier League next season? It will be his first year in the Premier League. Should he be eligible?
So I don't know. That's why I said I don't know.
These are outliers.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know
cut the age first.
it should be like
Cut the age
21 and
first,
below.
yeah.
21 and
We
below.
have a lot of 18, 19. We have a lot of teenagers in world football now, right? If you want to give somebody Young Player of the Year, you are recognizing him for something that's like stand out among his peers. By the time you're 23, 24, you're peers with people that are 30 already.
Yes,
in
no.
footballing terms, anyway. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on. If we even take it back to, by the time you're 23, 24 in Nigeria now, you're probably doing NYC or you're working. You're a full-time adult. Give the awards for the kids, for the kids.
And there are kids this season that I felt
Let's be
that
serious
are
now.
actual nominees.
Okay, before we make a selection from the Premier League nominees, which kids would you have nominated for the Young Player of the Season? Tony?
My boy now.
When I
No, how no you don't know. MLS.
Okay, well,
Skelly?
I feel like two of them should have been there because I think like when they were playing regularly, they're filled in big boots of normal starters. So and Arsenal have not had a bad season in the league.
Tino Livramento is another one I felt.
That sounds like a good shout.
Iman is partner, but that one got injured really early. Lewis Hall. Two of them really. If we go around, I'm certain we could pick a lot of. Apparently, Zabani just clocked 22. That's Dean Hurston, and I think Zabani, in my opinion, was really good
Equally
over.
as
Yeah,
good
was
as
equally as
Hurston,
good
yeah.
as. So if Kekes, Kekes, the left back, having seen people like Gravenberg on this is Gravenberg,
I
Palmer,
didn't even pick Gravenberg himself.
Gabriel Palmer, Elanga. Elanga's played in
Pedro.
Champions League knockout. Elanga broke us 5 years ago.
Elanga,
João Pedro. No,
Palmer,
you can
and
never allow
Saliba.
Saliba is one of the best centre backs in the world and has been like that for almost 2 years or 3 years. What is he still doing on that list? Do you know, according to the English laws, if Saka had a monster season, Saka was still eligible to be nominated.
Young
Saka will
players.
still be eligible next season.
Wow.
At some point, we need to understand what is young.
Common sense has to reign supreme.
If you're already comparing Saka with Salah and putting him in pedestals that if he has no business.
Being among
I
the young
don't
players.
think any of these guys, someone like Saliba, if he wins 16, I don't think he makes a difference to his career or makes a
Of
difference
course.
to him. But if a Kekes or an MLS
Even
or
if Morgan Rogers will win something like this, and it means something.
yeah, it means something to them. But then Palmer winning this, he might not.
Didn't Palmer win it last year?
I think he won it last year. No, like if you what is he doing there again?
Would that be something you change once you've won it? You can win it again. You
No,
can't be
because
nominated
if-
again.
so what I'll just do is simple. I'll just cut the age.
22 marks.
If you can win it 2 times before 20. 20.
No, like if you're 21 before before
20
the
is
This
at the
award,
beginning of the season,
this award is only
or-
for teenagers. I'm very sorry.
Only for
Only for
teenagers.
teenagers. Once you turn 20, even during the season, you're no longer eligible.
So you have
Straight up.
to be a teenager at the end of
At
the
the end
season.
of, at the
to
time
be-
of the award.
At the time of the award.
At least
to
it's
be
to
eligible.
spotlight and to spotlight the boys that because I don't know what Gravenberg. So Gravenberg now say I once won Young Player
As
as a 3-time league winner.
you know the picture of the picture they used to throw Rich James, the big guy sitting
He's sitting in
in
classroom
with
with-
toddlers.
Okay, but since, like you said, the law is the law, since we have these nominees, who among these 8 players, who among these 8 young players would you have as the young player of the season?
So because law is the law, and because of what I think, something I was listening to Naguzman yesterday. It was an old video where he said the most important player in a possession-based system is the 6. If you ask any manager of a top team that plays possession-based, the most important player is the 6. And with what I think Gravenberg did for Liverpool's season, we didn't even know he was the 6 they needed. we had talked about it earlier last year, but we didn't even know the impact it was going to have on their build-up, the impact it will have on slot ball and whatnot. He's the epitome of how slot builds for people who have followed slots football before Liverpool, and that's this major difference between slots football. And he's the major difference because there's a lot more tempo setting, a lot more settled down football than what Klopp was playing. So, and they won the league, so it makes sense for me to just edge towards him.
Right, Gravenberch for Tomi.
Morgan
Rogers.
Simple and straight.
No.
It meets my criteria. My own criteria.
The law is the law.
Straight to the point. Morgan Rogers and Ryan Gravenberch. Funny thing, I was discussing on Thursday with a couple of friends of mine, and my nominee for who I would have put up for the young player of the season, I think I would have gone with Dean Huijsen. Coming from Roma, off. I don't know if they were trying to raise funds or he was that terrible. You don't see someone stepping up. First season in the Premier League, centre back, like you said, no one really pays attention to these guys, and he had such a monster season. Instant move to Madrid, lifting Bournemouth to. I think they had a number of games where they went without conceding.
Should I say something controversial?
And it was very impressive.
Should I say something controversial?
We're up for it.
When
have you not said something controversial?
If Zabayan and Senesi had played together this season, I don't think anything would have changed. I see the talent, but I'm a bit.
You think Zabani is the anchor, not Huijsen?
I have a thing for glorified centre backs. We've had this conversation before, where I think somebody takes the glory off the other one.
So you think Zabani is the workhorse?
I don't think that's applicable in this case.
So I don't see how much of.
Huijsen has always been a prodigy. Right,
I don't see how much of it is.
People have been talking about him from UV to Roma and all of that. People have been talking about him all the way. So I don't think it's applicable to. I think it's applicable to Huijsen per se. It's a different thing if we did not know anything about him before. Because when he was moving to Bournemouth, it's more of, isn't this
why is this boy going there?
Yeah, and all of that.
That's why I was stunned. Why
I didn't see much to raise for. I didn't see much.
Where I would agree
I didn't see much of.
is if that injury did not happen, it probably would not have played this much.
And Bournemouth will still be the same thing.
Gotten this much plaudits. Yeah, life is about opportunities and luck. Now, if you have your chance,
it's looking like this Saliba Gabriel thing where it's about where people always tilt towards Saliba and forget that Gabriel actually does a lot of the work. And Zabani, it's the same thing. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, all well and good. We'll see later who eventually wins it.
Pampas.
And let's go to the actual player of the season awards. And the nominees from the Premier League are Morgan Gibbs-White, once again Ryan Gravenberch, Alexander Isak, Brian Mbeumo, Declan Rice, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Chris Wood.
They should stop giving us 10 nominees. Or
8 nominees.
There's no point. All this Mbeumo and
this season.
They should have just told us the winner.
Salah.
Don't tell us the winner is Salah and let's go home. All these names that just kept packing names with Mbeumo. So we should go. We should ask that.
Did Mbeumo have a good as good as Salah?
Mbeumo.
Well, I mean, there's really no need to touch on that particular award. Salah has been head and shoulders above pretty much any other player in the Premier League, and he truly deserves that award.
There's already one Football Writers Award now with more than 90% of the votes.
Yeah. So I think it was a record now.
That's not
a record.
So just before we round up the season, let's come to TSL's own awards. Mm-hmm. We couldn't write the law for the Premier League, but we can write the law for ourselves. In this case, we'll just be talking about five player positions, and then let's go. The player of the season, I think we can agree on that.
Yeah,
Salah for both of you. No questions asked. Tomi, who's your worst player of the season in the Premier League?
My boy, Raheem Sterling. Bruh, I had so much hopes. I just have to call him out. Raheem, I love you, but I had so much hopes. I believed that maybe something was going to turn out good for him. Maybe he didn't even get to play. Even when he got to play, Raheem, it has to be Raheem.
Ifedotun, worst player of the season for you?
It's a very, very, very tough one. Very tough one. But Sterling is actually in fact, the first thing that came to my mind, Sterling has thrown that person right out of the window. But I feel like worst player, doesn't necessarily mean player is a bad player. It just means like this season he didn't pull any weight at all. And from the corner of my head, first person that came to mind was Jota. In this Liverpool season, the way all of them played very well,
I forgot.
He didn't pull any weight at all. He was injured at all the important times. But I still had the worst season, and don't get me wrong. He didn't have a bad season, but look at what Liverpool have done this season. It doesn't have
and what he used to have.
That was the first person that came to my mind, but that's Salah. That's Sterling.
Now for the next award, the Young Player of the Season. Who is your Young Player of the Season? On your own terms.
So I'll just take the Arsenal boys, and I already explained why. That was Waneri and Luis Kelly. Just because they didn't look out of place in the big games and the small games when they needed them. When Saka was injured, Calafiori was injured, Zinchenko was out. They filled big boots like big men. Simple as straight.
Tomi.
MLS now.
MLS.
No,
No,
MLS. Sure, boy.
Let's move on.
That boy is wasting our left back, by the way, bro.
No, they'll move into midfield now. It's going to move. He's going to move. He has to move. He can't be a left back.
The next award we'll be calling is Overachiever of the Season.
Club or team or player?
Let's do club. Which club has overachieved this season?
Forest.
Obviously, yeah.
No questions asked. Now, which player do you think you didn't expect this type of season from him and he has overachieved in leaps and bounds?
Two names.
We have two also.
Wissa and Wood.
Wissa and Wood. Tell me your two names.
Wood and I know.
Wood and I know. So I think Wood clearly just gets it. Why Wood?
Wood, because nobody thought a 30 what he was in which World Cup? Was in 2010 World Cup, I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody thought a man of 2010 World Cup would have this kind of goals in the Premier League now. It didn't even make any sense.
It's had good Premier League seasons.
But not this one.
Not this time.
This doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Impressive season from Chris Wood. The underachiever of the season.
Club. Arsenal.
Are you serious? When United are Spurs are 16 and 17.
I don't care about those two. I don't care about those two. It's Arsenal.
In my opinion, by far.
Second back to back, the time to crown themselves, and
there was no
they
City.
Simply failed.
There was no City. They just failed. Like Arsenal.
Failed.
Yeah, I don't. Arsenal.
United, please.
United for you. Manager of the season.
Slot.
No chancing. So I have two names: Iraola and Emery.
Iraola and Emery.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have put Nuno into
I know
the
the name. I know the name Tomi is annoyed about, but
Emery.
we won't go into Emery today.
No, I pulled out Nuno because of the end of the season. I feel like those guys, resource versus expectation versus performance. Those guys, yeah.
Okay. And the last award for now. Which game is the best game of the season for you? Which match?
That I watched.
Yeah.
Arsenal Man City 5-1.
That's the dopamine effect now.
In my veins.
I think in terms of quality, there have been a number of quality games this season. I would just say, let me see. Okay, so I really enjoyed the Chelsea-Liverpool at the beginning of the season, the 1-1. Was it 1-1? No, it was 2-1. Chelsea won.
Yeah.
No, Liverpool won at the beginning of the season, 2-1. Yeah. Curtis Jones scored in that game. It was a very good game.
I think I enjoyed Liverpool United 2-2.
Yeah, the 2-2 was also a very good game. But that Chelsea-Liverpool was, nobody deserved to lose. Some of them played very well. Both managers had their teams play the way they wanted them to play, end-to-end stuff, chances, see quality everywhere. I think that's the one I'll pick.
And there you have it from the TSL team. We've given out our TSL Awards. Thank you very much, Tomi. Thank you very much, Ifedotun. It's been a wonderful flight so far, and we're touching down now. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be back next week.